Well, hello, everybody. We are finally here. This was supposed to start earlier on, and if anybody is thinking, you are not mistaken. We did try to start this during the beginning of the week, but unfortunately, I've had some very nasty storms going through my area, but we are finally going to start what will probably be one of the longest continuous playthroughs that I'll ever have on the channel, and that is the history of Rome, and we are going to be going through it using the Total War games, at least up to a certain point. Now, hopefully, everybody can hear me all right. Everything sound okay? Oh no. Don't tell me nobody can hear me. Yay, everything sounds alright. Good. So we are going to start with Rise of the Republic. We're going to be going to the earliest days of Rome that we can really go reliably back to. And we can't go into the Age of the Kings, but I will talk about it very briefly. The Age of the Kings is... Oh, my throat is so dry all of a sudden. So the early days of Rome and the first 100 years of the Roman Republic are basically lost to history outside of mythology, due to the Gallic tribes known as the Sassones would enter down into the midsection of Italy and sack Rome roughly 394 BC, somewhere around that time frame. Whenever we start this campaign, we are actually with the deadly grudge match between Rome's first big rival, the city of Veii, which is right up here. We are in a long-scale, first really big, massive war that the Romans really fought tooth and nail to get through. And this is all over the Tiber River salt trade. So we will get into it, into very desperate times for the young Roman Republic. Now note, I'm using my own mod, so you're going to see that the city of Rome produces ludicrous amount of money, and the difficulty, just ignore this right here, because the difficulty will change based on how the mod works. The mod takes care of it all. During Rise of the Republic, we're going to have ludicrous amount of money. We're not going to know what to do with it, and this is basically to replicate that the Romans really didn't understand inflation. They just produced money when they had issues and problems. Second, this will also allow us to basically build armies and throw them at our enemies as much as we want, which is what the Romans actually did. The Roman mentality of warfare was, just because you defeated our field army doesn't mean we're done. We're done when we say you're done. And let us start.
We failed you. Accused you and banished you. And you prayed for the gods to punish us. So they inspired our enemies. And sent savages. They took our land, sieged our city, to slaughter husbands, wives, and children. We are the city you loved. But we are destined to be the world. Marcus Furious Camillus. Rome needs you.
Rome is at war. The Etruscans of Veii have been our enemies for many years, and since peace is out of the question, we must bring them down by force of arms. The proud Volsci of Latium are carefully observing the conflict, and will undoubtedly strike should we provoke their ire. In such a conflict, we might try to ally with the Hernici. Meanwhile, rumor has it that a new threat is stirring beyond the lands of the cowardly Sabines and docile Umbri. Be mindful, yet brave. May Mars watch over you.
And welcome to the world of 399 BC. We are in the height of the classical period. Rome long ago. This will be telling us about some government types that we're going to absolutely completely ignore, because even in Rise of the Republic, they never quite got that mechanically sound. So here we have the city of Rome. It is small, relatively unimportant, and just one of few many different cities dotted across the Italian peninsula. In the south, we also have the island of Sicily, which has the city of Syracuse and the outposts and colonies of the great city of Carthage, which is down here in North Africa. Rome's great first eternal enemy, the great city of Carthage. But right now, Rome and Carthage are not enemies. Out of all the interactions that will come, it's relatively cozy between the two at the moment. Now for us, as the intro said, we are at war with VA. And our first goal is to topple VA. So we are going to start getting the army under control. The campaign against VA was a long affair. So we're going to go ahead and build up some initial buildings. And we're going to first expand the city of Ostia. This is the port city of Rome, and it will be pretty valuable to make sure that we have complete open access down here. And we're going to build a small temple, which will be dedicated to Neptune, which is the Roman equivalent to Poseidon. Now, in these early days, the Roman Republic isn't the well-oiled war machine that you later associated of Caesar's time. The classical legions aren't even around yet. Right now, we're not too different in fighting than the Greeks, fighting in a hoplite phalanx. As the campaign goes on, Rome will be forced to innovate to survive and conquer the peninsula. The legendary founders of Rome, Romulus and Remus, will be our first technology, which is just basically giving us the little myth. And we're definitely going to pick up our phalanx troops and go ahead and end our turn. Oh yeah. We're gonna erect an edict, which this would usually come up and say that, hey, it gives you different things. Being that my mod is the way that it is, it disables basically what this does. So all we're gonna do is hit boarding games, and that's just gonna make people more happy. Now, the city of VA is a long just a very long drug-out affair. We'll go ahead and pick up some more. And we'll probably be attacked.
Surely, my noble friend, you can see the wisdom in giving a small subsidy.
I'm just going to ignore that. Alright, our veteran has increased in rank. So our military champions, our veterans, will be able to train our troops, perform anti-spy actions. The agents in this game, you have a politician, you have a spy, and you have a champion, and they work as a paper, rock, scissors against one another. Your spies are usually dealt with by champions, but your spies will deal with politicians. Politicians deal with your champions, so on and so forth. But we're going to pick up drill sergeants, which is going to help discipline and get experience for the army. And we're going to click on the second legion, the ability to raise a second army.
The men will give their all.
Our first hero and character that we will be following is this man right here. His name is Flavius Camillus. He is kind of the first pseudo-legendary character that we will see during this campaign. He would serve somewhere around 7 to 8 successive terms as dictator, which dictator was an emergency office when Rome was at a great amount of threat. Which right now, Rome is under a lot of pressure due to the city of VA. For about 100 years, the two cities have been slowly getting ready to fight one another. And it's finally come to a head. Good. Gonna build an... Oh, we don't have a temple to Neptune. It must be in the Grand Campaign. So in that case, we're going to build an altar to Ceres, the god of the harvest. Put in a small sibyl. Now we have the ability to pick up cavalry. So we're going to pick up a couple forces of cavalry for the Legion. And as soon as that finishes up, we'll be ready to march. And just as I was predicting, it looks like the city of VA has launched their attack, but our garrison here in Ostia should be more than enough. If we play it smart. Alrighty. We have the Noman... The Noman? What the heck? We have the Roman naval defense of the city.
Ships waiting! Ready!
So we've got ourselves a couple of triremes and some biremes.
Ships reporting!
So bireme, it just means we have one set of rowers that are working on two banks of oars. We'll get into a little bit more of the ship nomenclature for this era whenever it comes a little more appropriate. During the rise of the Republic in this era, Rome really didn't concentrate on being a naval power. Most of the historical records from this time frame and during the early days of the Italian conquest, it only seems that most likely the Roman Republic only had roughly about 20 triremes that it kept at any given time.
Assault ships ready for orders!
Look to your brothers in arms, men. They are your true shield.
Enemy reinforcements approaching.
Enemy will break and scatter. We will.
So we'll go ahead and get our
challenging.
swords ready to go up here.
Your orders! Support ships ready! Set oars! Move out!
Oh look, there's some whales coming to watch the fight.
We await your command! Support ships at your command! Ships at your command! Yes, Commander! Prepare to engage!
So naval warfare at this time was a combined of skirmishing and ramming, and it was usually just to go and try to find a better condition and angles to ram into the enemy ship.
Get at them! Ships waiting!
The ships would have special attachments on the sides of their ships that would better absorb impacts, and then you would also have the ship's ram in the very front, and it looks like we have taken out their ship fairly quickly, which is good because we need to get everybody back onto the shore.
The enemy general is dead.
Assault ships ready for attack!
Go ahead and unload everybody we can. And let's get our phalanx over here into the market and try to set up for defense. Bring out our phalanx over this way.
Swords! Melee infantry at your command.
Bring these swordsmen
Advance
down
at
here
speed.
ready to go. Then we'll get them organized where we need them.
Missiles awaiting targets.
And we'll put our important missile troops over here.
Advance at speed.
Now, for those who are not familiar with the Total War type of games, basically, what we do on the Grand Campaign, it was kind of similar to what we were doing on Crusader Kings. We build buildings, we arrange armies, and we move them around. but it's not as in-depth up on the campaign map, because where a lot of the crazy fun stuff goes down is down here on the campaign maps, the battle maps. We have
Spearmen ready for orders.
full-on campaign battle maps. So we're going to put our spearmen into a hoplite phalanx.
Light hoplites!
And another one over there ready to go.
Swords! Melee infantry ready!
Put these swordsmen right here, ready to go.
And speed!
And these swordsmen right over here, ready to go. Kind of.
Double time! Melee troops! Swords! We await your command!
We'll put these in reserve up here.
Double time! Slingers!
No dragons.
Missile infantry ready!
Go ahead and bring up one of our group of slingers so they can start throwing stones over the heads of our spearmen.
No flinching! Show them how men behave!
Being that their ship had their commanding general, their army has sort of lost a little bit of its cohesion. Though we are still on the defensive, as they are larger than us at the moment.
Off the boats! All men ashore!
Our triremes have come back.
Brave Romans to a man!
Quick march!
Our phalanx have a nice little spear wall ready to go over here.
Swords!
Looks like they're going towards our swordsmen.
Melee infantry ready! Double time!
Take out this group of soldiers, as
General's
our
under attack.
swordsmen should be able to take out the enemy spearmen.
Swords! Bring for glory!
See them fight for one another, like
Levies! At speed, Commander! Follow me! Quick march! At the double!
Missiles awaiting time!
Levies!
get our troops into a better position, and we'll be ready to get them here. Phalanx warfare is usually a pushing match. These light early troops really are just going to have to count on us taking the advantage and moving them around.
Missiles ready and waiting! Melee troops awaiting orders.
We're going to
We await your
happily allow the AI to make a stupid mistake like they just did.
quick march. By your command. With advance at speed. At the double. Swords.
So we can surround a section of their spearmen.
Melee troops. We are quick march. At speed. Ready for orders. At the double.
Keep going. There we go.
Advance. Levies.
And this group of spearmen have completely broken down, so that's good. So it looks like we have victory on this side.
Brave Romans to a man.
We'll just stack them right
Double
here.
time. Levies.
Bring them over here.
Quick march. Swords. At speed. Slingers.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Slingers.
We will get our slingers over here to start mass pulting the enemy troops.
Swords. Engage. Slingers.
Don't go that way. The AI have horrible pathing.
Orders. And forward.
Looks like some of their swords have come to meet some of mine.
Ready for orders. Slingers. At the double. Double time.
And we'll place you all right here.
Advance at speed. Swords. Engage.
Take down that group.
Yours to command.
Have this group of slingers take out this group of slingers. Or at least try to.
Missile infantry. We await your command.
We are taking the advantage, slowly.
To advance. Spearmen at the ready. Attack that position.
We'll order our phalanx to start pushing forward.
Ready for orders. Double time. Levies. Move out.
Bring our levies up and forward.
Light operatives. Hack them down. Your orders. Hack them down.
The phalanx will be a good bit of a pushing match.
Slingers. Double time. At your service. We await your command. Swords. Engage. Slingers.
Micro our slingers a little bit.
At the double. Levies. Quick march.
Now I could use these troops to go and try to flank them and cut them off, and that actually sounds like a good idea.
Quick march.
We're gonna send them over here.
Advance at speed. Light operatives. Slingers. At speed. At speed. Double time.
Luckily, slingers will throw their stones over the head of our troops, so we don't have to worry about them getting shot in the back.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Light operatives.
Another major push ought to break them.
Advance! And forward! And the double!
Break the phalanx.
Advance!
And reform. Force them into a bit of a curve.
Spearmen, ready for orders. Light officers!
Gonna move our 1 troops now around.
Advance at speed! Swords! Yabba!
Actually, they're all gonna break, so we're just gonna order 1 big charge. And we're just gonna end the battle. No use in chasing them down. And with this victory, we will be taking them to basically give them permanent jobs without paying them. Now, I will tell you right now, this will cover some subjects that some people don't like to hear about, but it's history. It actually happened. The Romans did practice quite a heavy degree of slavery, and it wasn't what we would consider slavery today, where it was based off of, you know, skin color and all that sort of stuff. It was just basically, if you weren't from Rome, if you weren't from the city, you were fair game.
The Roman army is a force to be reckoned with.
Rome had an extreme superiority complex. And we're going to go ahead and there we go with the second. See, we have so much money that I have no idea what to do with all of it. But that's not the point. It's just to basically give us enough that we can turn around and do whatever we want and throw armies whenever we want. And we're going to go right into besiege the city of VA. And while that is going on, we're going to raise the 2nd Legion. We're going to raise an army. And we're going to give him an elite group of cavalry for his personal bodyguard units. We're going to take a couple of Italian cavalry, some swordsmen, fill it up with spears, and just kind of make it a second copy of the 1st Legion. Except for we're going to give them levy for their skirmishers. Our real issue is coming from food, as we're quickly starting to get this down to 0. And we need to at least keep it at all times above 1. Let's see what technology. Let's give ourselves a cavalry bonus. And move into besiege VA. Looks like the remnants of the army of VA itself have come out to fight our legion. And the garrison is also coming out. Now, as usual, the bar of balancing is very much always in the favor of the enemy, no matter how much of an actual. So we're going to fight this on the battlefield. Looks like the map is going to be raining quite heavily. Since we are the defender, we can't skip to wait for better weather conditions. This will affect our morale, but we'll be alright. Gonna actually put us back a little bit as we're in very favorable terrain for a phalanx battle.
Phalanx!
So we want to stretch the phalanx to interlocked with one another as best as it can. So right about there. Actually, we are wanting to put this right about there. There we go. Oops, forgot one. We want to make sure there's no little gaps in the phalanx, as those will become the weak spots if we give them. And we're going to cover the sides with our swords, which we're going to deploy like this. Very minor covering. And we'll keep our cavalry over here ready to go and have them grouped up under a group.
Troops and ready!
Grouped, and
Slingers!
the slingers will be back here. Everything looks nice, so we'll let the battle begin. Now we'll see where their reinforcements are going to be coming from.
Enemy reinforcements approaching.
We will make them regret challenging the might of Rome!
Yeah, this is the garrison of VA coming right over this way. Now right now, Rome and much of the Latin League are still a lot more heavily influenced by the Greeks, but we are going to become more influenced by the Etruscans as the campaign goes on, and we'll even pick up the style of Etruscan shield, which is what we actually associate with the Romans, the square scutum. Well, rectangle. I know my shapes. I swear, I know my shapes. I promise.
Romans, ready for duty!
We're going to...
Hold formation!
I have amazing bow skills, thank you.
Swords!
We're going to move our formation up a little bit. Keep the phalanx cohesive.
Advance at speed! Slingers!
Gonna move our slingers ever so slightly more upwards so they can skirmish a little better.
Quick march!
And they are pulling back, letting their army.
Orders!
Gonna make one final movement adjustment.
Orders! Commander! Double time! Equity!
Our cavalry are probably going to be the most successful and crucial part of this entire battle. In phalanx warfare, the most dangerous part to be, but also the most honorable part to be, is within the first 3 lines, and the very first line is the most prestigious. But usually how a phalanx army would fall apart is as soon as these guys right here in the front go, it's basically over. We have our more heavy troops over here. Looks like we are getting them to advance.
Missiles awaiting targets!
Hitting these levies. The native Italians. Now, as this battle is going on, we'll go ahead and tell you the story of how the Latins basically came into the Italian peninsula, as they're not actually Italian natives. Well, in the sense of they weren't the original people to be here.
Swords! Forward!
Trying to push them back.
At the double!
So back in the 1200s BC, the
At the double!
late Bronze Age started an event that is referred to now as the Bronze Age collapse. One of the main factors of the Bronze Age collapse was a group of people called the Sea People. Now, they weren't the only ones, but for the little story that we're telling, it's the only part that's really important. Now, the Egyptians fought and marked them down quite importantly. Let's grab these guys.
Light hoplites! Spearmen, ready for orders!
And slightly turn them like this.
By your command! We await your command. Ready and waiting. Commander! Swords!
Anyways, we have the Sea Peoples. Now, they were a product of what was the bigger issue that was going on, And as the Sea People would go around toppling the major civilizations at the time, it would just add more and more to their mass. So suddenly you would have a big mass of hungry, starving people. They would eventually arrive at the mouth of the river Nile, at the Battle of the Nile, which is one of the biggest battles recorded from this time frame, and one of the first really large-scale naval battles. Where the Egyptians managed to push back and defeat the Sea Peoples, but at a great cost. The Egyptian civilization never truly recovered, but one of the people was called the Luca. And the Luca come from southern Anatolia. Well, that's kind of crazy of them right there. Just let our cavalry deal with them. Do have to keep an eye on what's going on.
Slingers!
There's their
Our general is under attack.
Actually, we're going to
Double time! Equities!
start pushing. So the Luca are a group of people, and one of the few people of the Sea People that were actually identified.
Riders! All riders! At the double!
But they come from southern Anatolia. Now, in the Roman myth, it says that the Latins
Advance!
were some of the Trojan refugees from the Trojan Wars. From the Homer's Iliad and the Odyssey. The same group of people.
Engage! Commander! Forward! Commander!
In particularly, they're supposed to be the remnants of the Prince Hector's escaping force. Gonna have our general sweep away their missile troops. Well, the Luca would enter into southern Italy and move up into central Italy, eventually becoming the Latins. And as the Latins would resettle down after being basically forced to move away from their homes,
Yours to command!
they eventually started founding new cities, and one of the major cities that was founded fairly quickly, and one of the first ones, was the city of Rome. Now we have to support the opposite phalanx.
Quick march!
The opposite flank of our phalanx before it really gets bad.
Swords!
And we'll try to envelop their general.
Spear infantry ready!
The men are wavering.
Equities! Light hoplites! Spearmen at the ready!
Gonna start enveloping the enemy phalanx slowly.
Light hoplites! Yes, commander!
Our men flee the field of battle. This is a shameful display.
Looks like a section of the middle is starting to crumble, but we should be fine.
Swords! Brave Romans to a man!
So the Italians are not native. I mean, not the Italian. But the Latins
One of
are
our
not
units has
the
used all its
native
ammunition.
original Italian.
Ready and waiting!
But the Etruscans They are. They're one of the few civilizations that happen to have been around for a very long time.
Equities!
Our phalanx is still holding, so we're doing quite good.
Engage! Swords!
Going to wrap up more and more
Our
of
men
VA's
flee the field
troops.
of battle. This is a shameful display.
Sons of Mars! Slingers!
Oh no, we got the same thing going on the opposite side.
Back! Back now! Swords! Melee troops!
Making a little bit more of a push.
Riders, advance! Orders! And riders! At the double! Italian cavalry! Charge! Your orders!
Our cavalry should take care of the remnants.
Quickly now! Yes, Commander!
Our men flee the field of battle. This is a shameful display.
Advance at speed! Riders! At the double!
The battle is turning in our favor.
Swords!
Taking a good heavy beating here, but we are winning. And we have won, and we're going to continue.
Equities!
We want to
Engage!
hit them as hard as we can and take out as many soldiers as they're running.
Advance! By your command!
And we're going to speed it up for this part.
The enemy general is dead.
So we want to take out as
One of
much
our
as
units
they
has used all its ammunition.
can humanly do. Have our general go over that way. Have you all chase down the center troops. Take out these guys. This will make it so much easier when we go to besiege the city of VA directly. The less troops they have to defend, the better it will be for us. Especially being that the Legion has not come out of this unscathed. And there we go. We've taken quite a bit of damage, but it looks like we might have gotten quite a serious, nice load of troops. We've taken out 3,000 of theirs, and they only initially had 3,600. So we will enslave the soldiers of VA.
Have you further orders? Battle calls.
And we're going to give him the warrior trait.
We are ready to... Those defenses are coming down. We'll bring
We
down
are
their
going to go ahead
defenses.
and attack them. But I do want to point out, this right here means that we just did a historic battle. So the battle was so large and had a huge significant blow on the campaign for what we were doing at the time that it counts as a historical battle.
Leave none alive.
Nice historic victory.
Laying siege.
And we're going to go ahead and besiege VA. Now, the city of VA, the siege took a little over a year, and it lasted for so long that when it came time for the harvest to go and be brought in, the Roman army wanted to go back. Because this was during a time of seasonal warfare. You weren't out constantly besieging the enemy, all that sort of fun stuff. Now, it doesn't look like there's anywhere where we're gonna not have to deal with enemy towers.
Light hoplites!
But we're not gonna have hoplites carry that. We're gonna have our swordsmen, as they're better for this.
Light hoplites! Swords!
So as the siege of the city of VA, which is right here, would continue on and on and on, eventually, to keep the army in the field, the Romans had to adopt their first form of pay system for soldiers.
Yours to command! Hack them
Which,
down!
if the legends are true, then it was paid through salt.
Enemy reinforcements approaching.
Advance at speed! Light hoplites! Ready for orders!
Have the hoplites go and attack the door.
Swords! Ready for orders!
And everybody else can just come over this way.
Double time!
Now hopefully we don't have to worry about a heavy amount of soldiers being taken down, as we don't have a lot.
Italian cavalry! Quickly now!
As unfortunately our towers are... the enemy towers are attacking our army.
Loose! Missiles awaiting targets! Advance at speed! Slingers! Ready for orders!
Fortunately, slingers aren't the best for attacking enemies on the walls, but
Fire!
it will do.
Light hoplites!
And we got our ladders to the wall.
Melee
Now, something about this time frame. In the beginning of the campaign where we are right now, catapults haven't actually started entering the battlefield yet.
Proud Romans all!
The first accounts is during Alexander's campaigns, which is still a good ways off. About 37 years before we even get close to that. We haven't even had the Persian invasions in Greece yet, to say when this is going on.
By your command! Guard! Slingers!
Have our slingers come up here.
Swords! For glory!
Attack the walls and
Slingers! Double time! await your command. Commander! Commander! Defensive positions!
Go ahead and start putting our guys up on their walls. Start using them to our advantage.
Romans, ready for duty!
We've about burnt... Oh, we have gotten through the walls. All the hoplites charge through the open gatehouse.
Spears! Cut forward!
Just everybody come up. Attack that gate.
We have captured a tower!
Our slingers now are hopping up onto the walls, so we're starting to get the advantage. We should be able to break through their wall very shortly.
Brave Romans to a man!
There we go. Now it's a raging inferno. We'll have the gate damage real soon. There we go. Now we're going to charge through here and wreak havoc.
We have captured the gates!
There we go. Their initial defenders have been brought down. And now we're going to bring in the cavalry. Have them capture the different gatehouses.
Yours to command!
Different towers.
Slingers!
Across the wall.
Our general is under attack!
Italian cavalry! Right forward! For glory!
Just charged into spearmen, which isn't the best idea, but we're just going to take out what's left of their troops. Not much left.
Victoria, lead us! Advance!
Looks like we've got reinforcements actually coming to the city. But it's too late.
Swords! Ready for orders! Swords! Or advance! By your command!
Bring them to defend the
Quick march!
breach in the wall.
Swords! Hold!
The men are wavering.
At your service!
Double time, Commander!
Hoplite phalanx!
And we'll take down their defense real quick.
Slingers!
Capture this one.
Equites! Riders advance!
And we've taken down their general.
Italian cavalry! Dismount!
And we'll dismount their troops.
Equites! On your feet!
Start capturing these. We gotta have our general actually leave his horse.
We have captured a tower.
About to have a phalanx shoving match.
Italian cavalry! Mount up!
Remount their horses.
Yours to command! Mount!
Our enemy have lost a victory point.
Riders, dismount!
Now that we've captured their central plaza area and the VA Senate, we are no longer really having much of an issue with the interior of the city, as it's pretty much all fallen to us.
Italian
We have captured a tower.
right forward! Riders of the devil!
Ready for orders.
Light hoplites!
Hack them down!
Brave Romans to a man! By your command!
An entire unit has perished.
Not good at all. We've lost an entire unit.
Slingers!
Go and capture this last tower and the last little bastion of their defense.
Italian cavalry!
And now, as soon as we finish off their reinforcements, VA is done. All we have left to do is capture their port city, and we'll have the last little remnants gone to the wastelands of history. Now that our cavalry is back, it can collide into the back of their troops.
The enemy fort will soon be ours.
Time to die! Time to kill! We await your command!
And there we go. And we have won the Battle of VA. Looks like we lost a complete group of our slingers, but that will be alright. When the city of VA was captured, it was utterly razed, sacked, and destroyed.
And willing.
But quickly, it would become a new Roman city, as it would be repaired and built up as a minor settlement. We are going to reconstruct it as a economic area that will become fundamental with trade. Now all we have left to do is to capture this small settlement down here, and we'll have the last remnants of VA gone. And we'll do that, hopefully the next turn. Oh, our Legion actually got a skill point up. A tradition. Stalwart Defenders. It's always a good one to have. Let's just build barricades and traps and stuff.
You have coin to spare.
Oh, we're not making you a client state or a peace. No peace. Gonna rebuild their city as a Roman city.
The people and
No peace. Now we're going to pick up the shrines to the primary god of the Roman pantheon, Jupiter Optimus. The Roman god Jupiter is basically the equivalent of Zeus. Regrowing our troops, getting them nice and ready to go, getting more drill sergeants. Going to build a bronze myth and some water tanks in the city of VA.
think of it as an investment in future friendship.
Ah, Churia. We'll get on with the Churia later on. The Legion is slowly recovering, and now, as we've been rebuilding the city, we can see that it's now turned to look more like how it is for Rome, as it now is a Roman city. Well, a Latin city in particular, but still.
We are ready to do battle.
Now the Second Legion's ready to go. We're gonna go ahead and have it attack, and we're just gonna auto-resolve this battle, as there's not much of a problem fighting it. And we'll go with just a balanced stance. And we're just going to occupy it.
Awaiting orders. Ready and willing.
And with the Battle of Dominance being over between Rome and VA, we can now start looking more abroad. Replace the infrastructure. Now that the eternal struggle between Rome and VA is concluded and dealt with, we can now start looking at diplomacy and organize some trade rights.
Greetings, my friend.
As the
You
other
have my ear
powers,
for your speech, and
we're waiting to see who would come out on top, Rome or VA.
the day's greetings to you. We are in
So we can
agreement.
now establish ourselves as
As you have
the
made
premier
effort to
trade
be
power
I will
and the up-and-coming
find
power
myself-
in the mid-regions of the Italian peninsula.
Speak quickly, but do not expect the good wine to ease your parched throat when you are done. Though my heart rightly cries out for more.
So now all this trade will come into Ostia, and we'll be able to slowly go out and get more and more trade. which is what we're going to do. We're going to build a special hero for the purpose of going and establishing contact with the islands of Corsica and Sardinia. I'm going to go and get as much as we can. But that will be next time. I'm going to go ahead and save. Unfortunately, this is all that I have time for tonight. Come back next time as we will see Rome take on the Volscians to become the dominant power in the Latin League, which will put Rome in the condition to become one of the dominant powers in all of Italy. And we'll be doing that next time. Now, let's look for somebody to raid. I don't have anybody to raid. So yeah, we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.